Welcome, everyone, to a, Friday episode of the Call Sheet. I had to think for a second. What day is it? Christmas has me all thrown off, and Pez isn't with me. He's usually with me here on Fridays for our hot route conversation, but Pez is up in the mountains on his ski pilgrimage, and we're all picking up the trash, picking up the pieces from Christmas, wrapping paper all over the house. We had a lovely day here in the Smith house, a lot of family and football and food, the three F's of the holiday season: family, football, and food. And we're going to do a different show here today on our Friday episode of the Call Sheet at the Fans First Sports Network. Usually, again, it's hot route, but today, given the fact that we've seen some more eliminations, there were 3 NFL games on Thursday on Christmas, and we saw a couple more teams eliminated from the postseason. And we're going to give Christmas gifts out one day late, but still, I'm sure these teams will appreciate this. We're going to give Christmas gifts out to all the NFL teams who have been eliminated from the postseason. All right, what can we grant? What if I'm playing Santa? What can I give that will benefit each one of these teams that have been eliminated from the postseason? And we'll go from best to worst in terms of the record. Let's start with my son's team, the Detroit Lions, eliminated yesterday after a really woeful showing in Minnesota. They were really beaten up and down the field by the Vikings. The Lions are 8-8. They will miss the postseason this year after being the conference's number 1 overall seed last year. And the biggest reason is just injuries. So my Christmas gift to the Detroit Lions: health. Better health. This is really 2 years in a row now where their seasons have been undone by poor health. They lost Aiden Hutchinson for the stretch run last year. This year, they've just been devastated, particularly on the offensive line and in the defensive backfield. On the O-line, Taylor Decker, Graham Glasnow, Penei Sewell. I mean, they've all missed time or been out for the entire season. On the defensive backfield, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Avonte Maddox. I mean, just these are big names. These are not fringe players. These are some of the core players in Detroit. And the Lions just need better health. So I grant that. That's my gift to you, Detroit, for the coming season, next season: better health. How about the team they lost to yesterday, the Minnesota Vikings, also at 8-8? They've actually played some decent football over the last couple of weeks. But the big issue there is J.J. McCarthy. I grant the Vikings, my gift to the Vikings is for Kevin O'Connell to work his quarterback magic with J.J. McCarthy, to work it in a way like he did with Sam Darnold a year ago, where he really helped Sam Darnold revive his career. And Darnold, of course, now having a great year in Seattle after putting together an excellent year with the Vikings. He helped develop Kirk Cousins from being a decent starting quarterback to a really good starting quarterback for several years in Minnesota. And now he's got to do it with J.J. McCarthy, who really struggled. Technically, this is J.J. McCarthy's second year, but because he missed his entire rookie season, it was more or less his rookie year. McCarthy, 11 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, one of the only quarterbacks in the NFL to get substantial reps and be underwater from a touchdown interception ratio, and his completion percentage of 57.3, one of the lowest in the NFL. So O'Connell's got to get J-Mac right. I'll have to get my buddy Dave Stefano back on the call sheet at some point to talk a little bit about his struggles. I haven't watched enough of J.J. McCarthy to be able to say, oh, here's exactly why he struggled this past year. Obviously, he has a ton of weapons at his disposal, one of the best collection of skill players in the NFL. What was it, or what were the reasons that caused J.J. McCarthy to struggle so much? Next, the Dallas Cowboys at 7-8-1. Here's what here's my Santa gift for the Cowboys for 2026. Get Jerry Jones out of the way. And I'm not talking about anything permanent. We're not talking about bumping off Jerry, But no, man, just get him, remove him from the decision-making process. Because the Cowboys have 3 first-round picks over the next 2 drafts. They had 4. They traded one for Quinnen Williams. I don't think they regret that. He played really good football for Dallas since being acquired. But 3 first-round picks. And Jerry Jones has a history of meddling in ways that are not conducive to the success of the franchise. Dallas will now be going on 30, or it might even be 31 seasons without advancing past the divisional round of the playoffs. They have not advanced past the divisional round since 1995. For the love of God, this is a franchise that has been tremendously talented. It is one of the most high-profile franchises in the NFL. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that lack of success over 30 years. And what is the one common denominator about the franchise over all that time? Jerry Jones. So my Santa gift to the Cowboys, get Jerry out of the way and let the people who know football do their work. All right, the Miami Dolphins, 6-9. At one point they were 1-6, and then they rallied and put together a nice stretch of games to get themselves back into playoff conversation. They were eliminated with a loss to Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. And they made the interesting decision right after that loss to bench Tua Tagovailoa. And they now have to make a decision on Tua. That is what I grant them. I grant them the clarity to make the right decision. Tua is signed through next year on a contract extension that's paying him a lot of money. So they can't just, he's not a free agent. They can't just move on from him cleanly. They either have to cut him, in which case they will eat a lot of money, or find a viable trade partner. And neither one of those things is going to be easy. And quite honestly, I'm not sure what the right move is. You can't just cut him because you don't have a plan B. There's nobody there. I mean, I don't think that they believe Quinn Ewers, who they drafted in the 7th round, is the answer at quarterback, the long-term answer. So they need clarity as to what is next. I think the right move is to see if you can find a trade partner. I don't know. Maybe you can trade with Arizona. We're going to get to them in a minute. Swap Tua for Kyler Murray. That's not going to happen. But you have to find somebody willing to take on Tua so you can get something back in return. And then you have to map your plan forward at quarterback. And Miami's in that weird area where they've won enough games where they're not going to be drafting in the top 6, 7, 8, where you tend to land your franchise quarterbacks. Tricky situation. My gift to the Dolphins is clarity. What about the Atlanta Falcons? Another 6-9 team. My gift to the Falcons is that they get it right on offense, because this is a team that's got a lot of really talented pieces. I mean, Bijan Robinson leads the NFL in scrimmage yards. He's the only guy in the league right now over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. 2026 is his total of scrimmage yards heading into the final 2 weeks of the season. He's not going to break Chris Johnson's all-time record. Chris Johnson has the all-time record for the most yards from scrimmage in a single season, 2,509. Bijan Robinson would need 486 yards. Something like that. I don't know. I think I just messed that math up. But he would need almost 500 yards to eclipse that record. He's not going to get that. But he's going to be probably top 5, top 6 all-time yards from scrimmage. He's an unbelievable weapon. And you got Kyle Pitts, and you got Drake London, and you've got Michael Penix. Are they going to re-sign Kyle Pitts? He can become a free agent. How can you develop Penix, who had an up and down year in his first season as the starter? Zach Robinson is a really good play caller. This is a guy who learned his craft from Sean McVay, spent years with the Rams. I mean, this is an offensive coordinator who knows what he's doing, and he's got talent at his disposal. The Falcons now, they just have to put it together. I can't believe I'm about to talk about this team, but the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-10, who have been devastated now at the quarterback position, who lost a lot of close games this year, who obviously missed the playoffs and will not be, for the first time in 6 years, the favorite to advance to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. Here's what I wish for them. I wish, and this is really not for the franchise, more so it's for one individual. I wish for Travis Kelce, my gift to the Chiefs is that Travis Kelce retires. And I don't mean this selfishly as somebody who wants the Chiefs to stay out of the picture in the AFC as a non-Chiefs fan, but I mean, congratulations on a Hall of Fame career, Travis Kelce. Been doing it a long time, 15 years in the league, 36 years old. He's healthy, right? I mean, he hasn't suffered a ton of concussions. He doesn't look like a CTE candidate. He appears to be walking pretty well. He hasn't had a lot of devastating injuries. If you've played tight end in the NFL for 15 years and you look as good as Travis Kelce does physically, you've won. Forget all the other accolades, all the Pro Bowls, all the Super Bowls, all that stuff. Forget all that. Forget all the money he's made. He's got a chance to get out right now with his health. And, by the way, to then marry Taylor Swift and then go on and start that part of his life. You're marrying a billionaire. I mean, when Travis Kelce, who's made hundreds of millions of dollars in his NFL career, is not the primary breadwinner, I mean, that dude set himself up pretty well. Take your shot. Don't come back for one more grab at the brass ring and risk a consequential injury, something that could set you back physically for the rest of your life. Walk off into the sunset, man. Your second act is going to be phenomenal as well. Congratulations on an amazing career. Take the opportunity now to leave on good terms. Cincinnati Bengals, 5-10. I'm going to reach into my big bag here, my Santa Claus bag, and I'm going to hand to the Bengals some defensive competence, because this is a team that flat out ignored defense last year. Yes, they drafted an edge rusher with the number 1 overall pick, Shamar Stewart. How did that work out this year? Shamar Stewart's stats for 2025, 8 tackles. That's not in one game. That's for the season. 8 tackles, no sacks. It went bad right from the get-go when he was holding out of training camp. They wouldn't pay Trey Hendrickson when he wanted more money. He was getting $15 million a year when elite edge rushers of whom he is one, were getting twice that. They broke the bank to pay Higgins and Chase and Burrow. And then they nickel and dime Trey Hendrickson. And now they've basically said, hey, we're moving on from that guy. What's the plan on defense? I mean, they better have one. And I don't know if they do. So as Santa, I will give to the Bengals some semblance of defensive competence for 2026. Cincinnati, by the way, on pace to give up 516 points this year. That would be the 5th most all time in the NFL. New Orleans Saints, 5-10. Continued development for Tyler Shuck under Kellen Moore. Their quarterback, who they took in the 2nd round of last year's draft, older guy, 26 years old, coming out of the draft. I watched him at the combine. I thought he was a little erratic. Ball was kind of all over the field, big arm. Looked like the kind of guy that had like a lot of physical potential, but really needed to be reined in. He's played some darn good football over the last couple of weeks for the Saints. The Saints have been surprisingly competitive. And my gift to the Saints, continued development for Tyler Shuck under Kellen Moore, who I think is doing a very nice job in his first year as head coach in New Orleans. Washington Commanders, 4-12. Here's my wish for the Commanders, or my gift, I should say, to the Commanders. My gift to you is that RG3 does not become the second coming for that franchise of RG3. I said RG3. I meant Jaden Daniels, right? That Jaden Daniels does not become the second coming for that franchise of Robert Griffin III. Because if you think back 15 years when Robert Griffin III came out of Baylor, he looked a lot like Jaden Daniels physically. Not quite as tall, but they both were sort of slightly built, super athletic. RG3 brought the read option to the NFL. RPOs weren't yet a thing, but he was like the first quarterback running zone read at the NFL level. Cam Newton started to do it around that same time as well. But RG3, who had starred as a read option quarterback at Baylor, was like one of those first guys where you did it with him in the NFL and people kind of were like, is that going to work? And he had some success with it. And then ultimately what everybody thought was going to happen happened. He got hurt. And then he got hurt over and over and over again. And it derailed what started out as a promising NFL career. And I don't want to see Jaden Daniels go down that road. He's super talented. NFL Rookie of the Year in 2024, but his season in 2025 was kind of a lost one, and injury were the primary culprit. So let's see. My gift to the Commanders: protect him, keep him healthy. All right, now we get down to the nitty gritty. The New York Jets, 3-12. My gift to the Jets, Wayne Mazzoni: general football competence in whatever form that might arrive. There is so much dysfunction in New York. There is so much wrong there. I can't even hone in on a specific thing. Do they need a quarterback? Yes. Do they need to fix the line? Yes. Do they need to fix their operation? Yes. Do they need to fix everything? Yes. Everything. General football competence in whatever form that arrives. Let's start there. The Jets just need to be better at everything. And I don't know if that can come in one package, but man, if I can drop a blanket over the entire organization and provide them general football competence, that's my gift. Tennessee Titans, 3-12. What do they need? Well, you tell me. Ready? I'm going to read you a list of the leading receivers by catches, by receptions in Tennessee. Tell me if you know who any of these people are. Chig Okonkwo, tight end. Titans, leads the team in receptions with 51. Gunnar Helm, tight end. Next on the Titans, 43 catches. Shamir Dyke, wide receiver, 41 catches. Tyjae Spears, running back, next, 37 catches. I mean, my goodness, who are these people? I mean, I don't think anybody, if you read a list of those guys and said, who are they? What profession? I don't even know if many people could, pin them down as professional football players. The Titans need weapons. They need weapons for Cam Ward because he's struggling through a tough rookie season. And they threw him into the fire, man. Day one starter, and they didn't surround him with much. And that's how guys get ruined. You don't want Cam Ward to be the latest quarterback to be ruined by being thrown into the lineup too soon without a good supporting cast. And so my gift to Tennessee, the supporting cast. All right, what about the Cleveland Browns, also 3-12? Well, my gift to them would be an answer at quarterback, which is something that has eluded Cleveland forever. I couldn't possibly read the list to you of all the players that they have started at quarterback in the 21st century. It would take far too much time. So I will instead read to you the list of quarterbacks who have started for the Browns just this decade. In just this decade, which is half a decade, they have started Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, Nick Mullins, Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, PJ Walker, Jeff Driscoll, Jameis Winston, Bailey Zappi, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders in just this decade. I don't know if my friend Kevin Stefanski is going to keep his job in Cleveland or not. I have no idea. He may not. But if they fire him, it will simply be to try something new. But the reason that he will have lost his job will be because the Browns did a woeful job of supporting him at the quarterback position. They set him up with that horrendous Deshaun Watson contract. That went south. They tried to patch a bunch of nobodies or aging veterans like Joe Flacco into the situation, and then they completely botched the quarterback draft by taking Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders this past year. Shame on the Browns front office for not being able to handle that and give Coach Stefanski something concrete at the quarterback position. But going forward, whether it's Coach Stefanski or someone else, I gift to the Browns an answer. Somebody who can play the position there for more than a season, because that's not something they've had. Arizona Cardinals, my sister's favorite team, 3-12. I grant them an offensive lineman or offensive line help. They've given up the 5th most sacks in the NFL. They're 27th in rushing yards. The O-line stinks. Kyler Murray hasn't been great, but he's had to run for his life for most of his time there. Some good free agent linemen on the market. If I were the Cardinals, man, I would think about Connor McGovern, the center from Buffalo, Trey Pipkins, the right tackle for the Chargers. I think those are a couple guys that could really upgrade their line. They need help. Which brings us to the final two. The New York Giants and the Las Vegas Raiders, who are tied at 2-13 and who play each other this weekend. That is fantastic. In the toilet bowl, right? The toilet bowl between the Giants and the Raiders, the winner of whom will actually be the loser, because the loser of this game will be the winner. What the hell am I talking about? Well, you know, right? Whoever loses this game puts themselves in pole position for the number 1 overall pick. And I'm going to say that will be the Las Vegas Raiders. So let's do the Giants first. The Giants are 2-13. And what I gift to them is coaching stability. They need to hire a new head coach. Mike Kafka, the interim for the fired Brian Daboll, is not going to be the guy. I don't know who will be the guy. It might be Kevin Stefanski. There are some rumors that Kevin Stefanski will wind up headed to New York. Who knows? I don't know who it will be. But whoever it is, I gift them stability, because nothing destroys a young quarterback more than a revolving door in the coaching position. Whether it's head coach, OC, because you know whoever's next is going to bring in their own OC. If Jackson Dart and that very talented offense in New York, Dart and Scadaboo and Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors, Tyrone Tracy, they've got guys on offense, man. They got a good unit of skill players, but you will destroy them if you have a revolving door of coaches. And so they need some stability at that position. And last but not least, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm just going to say the Giants win that game this weekend. And the Raiders get the number 1 overall pick. And I gift to you, Las Vegas, Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Indiana, the guy who will take over there when Geno Smith is ultimately pushed out as the starting quarterback. I don't know who Mendoza's head coach will be. I have a hard time seeing Vegas entrust Mendoza to 75-year-old Pete Carroll, who's the Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly experiment obviously did not go well in Las Vegas. I would imagine you would want a younger head coach / coordinator, maybe who's got a little newer ideas about offensive football, to be the guy with Mendoza. So for Vegas, I reach into my Santa bag and I gift you a loss this weekend so that you can earn the number 1 pick and acquire Mendoza. So there we go. My Santa Claus presents for all of the NFL teams as we head into week 17, as we head into the weekend games for those teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs. All right. I will be back on Monday with our Game Balls episode, and we'll have a much clearer picture of what the playoffs are going to look like. That time of year, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic stuff. So thanks again for joining me. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you on Monday. Take care.